see it.
1. Hello and welcome to GojiraTech. I'm your host, Jake Behrens.
And I'm Brad Ballou.
Due to a poor adoption rate, Microsoft has announced that they will be rebranding Windows Vista as Winix OS X, also known as Roman numeral 10. Enhancements will include speed increases of 257 times that of Windows 3.1 and 3 times the number of security vulnerabilities as Windows ME.
Now, hold on a second, Jake. This is April Fool's Day.
Yeah, but that's not an April Fool's joke.
Did you type that in the prompter?
No.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, there are several really good April Fool's jokes around the web today. Blizzard Entertainment every year comes out with a really good April Fool's joke for their gamers. Check out blizzard.com for some of their stuff. Google did several today. You can use your Gmail account to send an email that is several days old, so you can post-date something and then say, hey, did you get my email? And totally trick somebody. Also, they created this Virgil website, which is their mission to populate Mars. It's going to be pretty interesting April Fool's Day.
That definitely will be. In other April Fool's news, Brad wore a tie today. The only person he was pranking was apparently himself. Photoshop, actually Adobe, has released Photoshop Express. It's a browser-based version of Photoshop, and that's perfect.
Carry on.
I'm carrying on. So anyway, Adobe has released Photoshop Express, and it requires Flash Player 9, and it's an entirely web-browsed image editor. Now, it offers 2 gigs of storage with the ability to crop, rotate, touch up pictures, and take care of red eye. They plan on eventually making this a subscription service with more options and more storage, which is pretty neat.
It was very neat. I got to sign up for it and use it some this week.
Cool.
I'm a Photoshop dummy. I can't do a whole lot in full Photoshop CS3, but Photoshop Express I can use. It's very simple. Crop, edit, lighten up. Very simple.
Cool.
Next bit of news we've got, Sony BMG is busted for using pirated software. This is very interesting because Sony has been so active against piracy in the music industry. I read the article on Ars Technica, and it was talking about Point Dev, a French software company that makes Windows administration tools, received a call from Sony BMG IT employee for support after Sony BMG supplied a pirated license code for Ideal Migration, which is one of Point Dev's products. The software maker was able to mandate a seizure of Sony BMG's assets. The subsequent raid revealed the software is illegally installed on 4 of Sony BMG's servers. The Business Software Alliance, however, believes that up to 47% of the software installed on Sony BMG's computers could be pirated. Jake?
I'm really not surprised by this.
How bizarre.
Yeah, it is always these kind of things. It's even how the MPAA was found out, after they were going over the whole hurrahs about, Pirate Bay and BitTorrent, and they were found to have burned copies of their own movies and things like that. This is really not surprising, and it's really sad and pathetic.
A company with as much money as Sony, they can afford to buy their own software. It's not like the individual John Doe out on the street that can't afford to buy something and has to pirate it. I just don't understand.
Yeah, those are some of the mysticisms of the world, I think. In other news, RIAA is not wanting to pay its lawyer fees. They've decided that the $300,000 that was settled in the Tanya Anderson case, they say is far too much of a fee to pay to the lawyers. And they even went to the point of saying that the lawyers were bringing in, 2 people into each trial period, whereas, the RIAA had 6 lawyers present. But they still say that it's too much money and they're not wanting to pay for it.
Ridiculous. It is ridiculous. They're pulling all kinds of shenanigans out just to prevent the money from going to the proper places.
It's true. They don't want to pay the artists. They don't want to pay the lawyers. And now they don't even want to pay what they're supposed to through the court system. So,
shenanigans. Google Docs can now be taken offline. It's really interesting. We saw this today on the Google Doc blog, and it'll be rolled out over the next few weeks. It requires an installation of Google Gears, But it's going to be pretty interesting. It might make it a real competitor to some Microsoft Office products.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, and a lot of products are starting to do this whole, take it offline, go do what you need to, and, get back to it later. Even in the HTML5 spec, they're going to have, offline databases that you can dynamically create so that it basically replaces cookies. And so, you can make alterations to even like profiles and things like that. And then when you're connected back to the server, it all goes back up.
Very cool.
Which is very cool. In other Google news, their term of service doesn't allow kids under the age of 18. Apparently, Google's terms of service, thick with legalese management speak, state that you may not use Google products, software, services, and websites, and may not accept the terms if you're not of legal age to form a binding contract with Google. Now, all 50 states require you to be 18 to form a binding contract, so essentially Google must be saying that anyone under 18, sorry, but you shouldn't be using this.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And I was reading about a Google contest they've got going for K through 12 kids to design a logo for the Google site. So
that's fantastic.
Hey, come design us some logos, but sorry, you can't use our website. That's
great.
Crazy.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Don't forget you can email us at gojiratech@gmail.com.
GOJIRATECH@gmail.com.
Thanks for watching.
See ya.